Well, first, I think it's important to understand that this incursion into the region that we usually refer to as Kursk, into that area, is not a major military event at all. I think the mainstream media is playing this up as though it's the German advanced vanguard or something is broken through and will be on the channel in a few days. I mean, this is nonsense.
Right.
The Ukrainian forces that broke through started out with 1,000, and then it added another 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000. I think we provided them with some satellite-based reconnaissance that pointed to an area that was very lightly defended, and they thought they could break through. Their real objective seems to have been to capture the Kursk nuclear power plant. That has failed, obviously. They did damage the cooling system, but that seems to be under repair, and so there's no danger of a meltdown at this point. And I think it's more of an irritant and an annoyance than anything else. And then, of course, a public relations ploy to try and create the illusion that there's something left in the Ukrainians, that they have some fight in them, and we should continue to sort of throw our money into the black hole called Ukraine. It's ridiculous. I wouldn't pay too much attention to it, except for a couple of things. We now have some credible reports that the Ukrainians are using chemical weapons, and it looks as though these are 155 millimeter shells, the standard artillery round for NATO, with chemical warheads that contain chlorine gas.
Wow.
That chlorine is pretty nasty stuff for a whole range of reasons, not the least of which is when it reaches the ground, it sinks into the earth and poisons the area for years.
Wow.
So this is more than just the usual mendacity. This is dangerous and crazy. And of course, it contravenes international law. We outlawed the use of chemical weapons a long time ago. Of course, that hasn't stopped the Ukrainians, and we've already seen them target civilian areas while they were plowing their way into Russia. Again, all of this is not really covered in the mainstream media the way it should be. That in 1991, when the operations began against Iraq, Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher pointed to the chemical weapons in Saddam Hussein's hands.
Right.
And she made it very clear that if he was contemplating using those, that he could then expect a nuclear response from Britain. So, I wouldn't exclude any possibility at this stage, but I think this is probably the last straw for Putin.
Okay.
Putin, for whatever reason, has been extraordinarily tolerant